Welcome, Ignou aspirants. Let's break down a topic that can feel a bit tricky, but is super important for your exams. Gary Becker's Theory of Derived Demand. We're going to make this really simple and, most importantly, easy to remember. All right, let's dive right in. Imagine this. You open your exam paper, and there it is. This exact long answer question. The first instinct might be a little bit of panic, right? Well, don't worry. We're going to build the perfect answer together, step by step, right here. So, here's our game plan. Think of this as the skeleton of your answer. If you follow this structure, you're showing the examiner a really clear, logical train of thought. And trust me, that's a surefire way to score those higher marks. First things first, we've got to talk about the huge shift in thinking that Gary Becker brought to the table. This is the absolute best place to start your answer because it really sets the stage for everything else we're going to discuss. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the before and after here. You know, traditional economics kind of just stopped at the shop door. You buy a book, you get utility. Simple. But Becker, he went way deeper. He asked, okay, but what happens after you buy it? You can't just own the book. You have to combine it with your own time, with your effort, to create the thing you really want. In this case, that's knowledge. And that is the revolutionary idea right there. Okay, on to the next part. This is probably the most powerful way to explain the whole theory, and it's something you should definitely use in your exam. I want you to start thinking of a household as a tiny factory. And that's the key concept to jot down. We're not just passive consumers, sitting around waiting for things. Nope, a household is an active producer. We are constantly busy, making the things that actually give us satisfaction in life. This breaks it down perfectly. It's a simple, three-step flow, something you could even sketch out in your exam to make it visual. You take your inputs, things you buy, plus your own time. You do something with them, an activity, and out comes the final valuable output, which Becker gave a special name, commodities. And to make this crystal clear for your examiner, you got to use examples they can relate to, right? Something from our own context. We don't just want dal and rice. What we really want is that satisfying home-cooked meal. We don't just want a cricket bat. We want the fun, the recreation, the fitness that comes from playing. See how that works? All right, now let's get a little more formal. We're going to put this whole idea into the language of economics. Using the proper academic terms is what will really show you have a deep grasp of the concept, and that's where the extra marks are. When you boil it all down, at its very core, the idea is as simple as this equation. You take stuff you buy from the market, you mix it with your own precious time, and what you get is the final thing you actually care about. And here it is, the formal function. Now, don't let the symbols intimidate you. It's actually pretty straightforward. Just make sure you mention ZI, XI, and TI in your answer. All it's saying is that the final commodity, which we call Z, is a result, or a function, of the goods, X, and the time, T, that you put in. That E just stands for other environmental factors that might play a role. So this is the crucial part. We need to connect everything we've just talked about back to that original question. We've said that households are like factories, but what does that have to do with demand being derived? Let's connect the dots. This analogy right here is the absolute key to unlocking your whole answer. Think about it. A car factory demands steel, right? But not because it just loves having piles of steel lying around. Its demand for steel is derived from our demand for cars. In the exact same way, your demand for groceries is derived from your desire for a home-cooked meal. And this slide just lays out that logic perfectly. You don't want petrol just for the sake of having petrol. What you actually want is transportation, the ability to get from point A to point B. So your demand for the input, the petrol, is a direct consequence of your demand for the final output, which is transportation. It's derived from it. Okay, let's bring it all home. This last section is maybe the most important for your actual exam prep. This is your quick revision cheat sheet to help all these ideas stick in your brain right before you walk into that exam hall. We all know exam pressure is a real thing. It can be hard to remember everything. So to help you out, I came up with a simple little mnemonic. When in doubt, just remember the FACTS. So let's break it down. It's super easy. F is for factory. Your household is a mini factory. A is for the actual commodity, the final thing you really want, not just the raw ingredients. C is for the combined inputs. You have to combine goods and time. And T is for therefore. Put it all together, and therefore the demand for goods is derived. Just explain those 4 points, and you've got a fantastic structure for your answer. Look, if you can only remember one perfect sentence to wrap this whole thing up, make it this one. It's concise, it hits every single key point, and it tells the examiner that you have total clarity on the topic. And last but not least, here are the keywords. Make sure these words pop up in your answer. Maybe even underline them. They're like little signposts for the examiner that instantly show them you know the critical jargon and the core concepts of Becker's theory. And I'll leave you with this final thought. The absolute best way to make this theory your own is to apply it. Think about your day, your demand for mobile data, for instance. It's not for the data itself, is it? It's derived from your desire to communicate, to be entertained, or to learn something new. Good luck with your exams. You are going to do great.